Welcome back, everyone, to the Bears Travel Plays YouTube channel. Today is Friday, November 29th, and I'm back breaking down a solo, actually not a solo play. We've got multiple plays for Friday. We've got a couple matches we're going to look at, 3 games in total, 2 player props. So if everybody had a great Thanksgiving, but let's take a look at the play from Thanksgiving before we take a look at the Friday plays. Also, I like the setup we have for Friday, Saturday, and college football, getting, 20 games on Friday, 15 games on Friday, then getting the rest on Saturday. I kind of like that. You can watch more ball that way. But let's take a look at the play for Thanksgiving. We have Memphis plus 13.5 against Tulane. They're up 27-17. Tulane, what are you doing? You had to win this game. You had to. They're going to lose. Then they're going to beat Army, and it's not going to be for anything. They're not going to make the playoff. Screwed the pooch on that one. Memphis is going to win this game outright. It looks like they're up 27-17, dominating. Anderson's already gone over his total rushing yards. Mekhi Hughes, I don't know if he got hurt or what, but he has 8 carries for 14 yards. So Memphis is doing a really good job bottling him up, or he is hurt. I don't know which one. I haven't been watching it. I've been watching the NFL games and with family all day long. So really haven't had a chance to watch that game at all, but I did see Memphis is dominating Tulane. So it's looking like a 2-1 day on the picks for Thursday. Let's take a look at the games for Friday. We got a couple matchups here, starting with the Egg Bowl. This has been a matchup that historically has been fun to watch. It hasn't been fun to watch since probably Mike Leach, Mississippi State head coach, God rest his soul, one of the best college football coaches of all time, at least one of the most entertaining college football coaches of all time. It took too soon. He passed away in 2022. During the season, Mississippi State went on to win that bowl game, 19-10 against Illinois. Remember that game very vividly. In that year, Mike Leach, the Bulldogs, also knocked out Ole Miss. So that was probably the last time the Egg Bowl was fun to watch. But typically we see Mississippi State as a competitive team. That's just not the case this season. They're one of the worst teams in college football, the worst team in the SEC. The spread's 26.5. I feel like it's going to go one of two ways. We can see a competitive game. Mississippi State has been playing decent over the last couple games, or we're going to see Ole Miss come out and dominate this game. They can easily put up 50-plus points going up against one of the worst defenses in college football in Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State's horrible this season. I think they're going to lay another egg. No pun intended there with the Egg Bowl. But I think Mississippi State is going to get rolled over in this game. I'm taking Ole Miss minus 26.5. They can easily put up 50-plus points in this game. I don't see Mississippi State being very competitive. I did not change the final score on the graphic there, but I do think Ole Miss might put up 50 points in this game. So if you want to take a look at the team total, that would be a good pick as well. But give me Ole Miss minus 26.5 as the play. And for the next play, we are going to be looking at Nebraska going up against Iowa, and I did change the score on this one. That is good. We're going to be taking Iowa minus 3.5. Nebraska, they did win the Suck Bowl last week. I will give them some credit. Wisconsin, they were pretty bad in that game. Nebraska found a way to win. I thought it was going to be a one-possession game. It wasn't. Nebraska won by a couple touchdowns. I don't think this is going to be a very competitive game. Iowa all season long, they've been very good defensively. They've been scoring a lot of points offensively too, something we typically don't see. And we're going to see them control the clock. We're going to see them run the ball down Nebraska's throat. That Nebraska defense has not been great over the last couple of days. And we're going to see Dylan Raiola really struggle in this one, going up against a different breed of defense in the Hawkeyes. I do not think Nebraska has any shot to win this game. I'm going to take Iowa minus 3.5 as the second play of the day. Let's go to the player props, and we are going to start with Colorado going up against Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State all season long has been a disaster on the defensive side. They've been a disaster offensively at times as well. And we've got a very angry Colorado team coming into this game. Colorado, they controlled the road to destiny. All they had to do was beat Kansas. They were unable to do that. All the credit in the world goes to Kansas. They have knocked off 3 consecutive top 25 teams. If you put a person who watches college football in a room and says, what team in the Big 12 right now do you think should be playing for the Big 12 title game? I think 90% of people would put Kansas in that scenario going up against Arizona State. Kansas has been playing the best football so far. Unfortunately for Kansas, they tripped over themselves too many times, shot themselves in the foot too many times in the fourth quarter to start the season. But in this game, OK State, they're giving up 1,000 yards per game. Shedeur Sanders, over 334.5 passing yards. He's going to go for 505 touchdowns. Shedeur Sanders, at the beginning of the season, I was the biggest hater. I've kind of turned my tide a little bit. He's playing some really good football. He's not throwing his teammates under the bus anymore. He's looking more and more like an NFL quarterback every day. He was good in that Kansas game, had 3 touchdowns, but the defense was horrible. It was not his fault that they lost. Also, he almost broke both of his legs on that dirty hit by the Kansas player. So I think Shedeur Sanders is an overall great player. I think he's going to go off in this game. Over passing touchdowns was 3.5. A little bit nervous on that one. Needed 4 touchdowns to cash that one. So I'm just going to go with the over total yards, 333.5 as the best bet. And for the final player prop of the day, we're going to be looking at Ole Miss going up against Mississippi State. Give me Caden Lee, over 73.5 receiving yards. Ole Miss, they looked decent in the first couple of drives going up against Florida, but their best player, Trey Harris, he was hurt on that 43-yard touchdown reception going up against Florida. They never looked the same after that. It looks like he's not going to be in this game either, but the competition from Florida to Mississippi State is a big enough margin that I'm pretty fine laying this line of 26.5. I'm going to be taking the wide receiver, though, in this game, Caden Lee. Over his total yards, he has been a monster whenever Trey Harris goes out. Even if Trey Harris is in, he's still been very efficient over the last several games for Ole Miss. He's been the best target for Jackson Dart. He's had 4+ catches in 5 consecutive games, and he's had 60+ yards in 5 consecutive games as well. And he's gone over this total, 73.5, in 4 of the last 5. He's coming off another great game against Florida. 6 catches, 94 yards. He's been good basically the entire season. He's been good going up against good teams as well. Georgia, he had 81 yards in that one. This is not only the weakest defense in the conference, this is one of the weakest defenses in the nation. So I do think Ole Miss puts up a big number. I think Caden Lee has himself a day. Give me Caden Lee over his total receiving yards as the final player prop of the day. Before we get out of here, we have one more game to talk about. Minnesota going up against Wisconsin. Not going to talk a lot about it. I'm going to take Wisconsin, though, on the money line. They screwed me last week. I hope they don't screw me again this week. But I saw something. Wisconsin hasn't missed a bowl game in 22 years. Not entirely sure if that's accurate. I did look it up. It said 22 years. But if that's the case, that's a really, really, really long run. 22 years, almost as long as I've been alive. But I don't see Wisconsin breaking the streak this season. They are a decent team. They have been bad defensively lately, but the defense has been good overall in the season. They can move the ball. They got to go back to the running game in this game because Minnesota, they're bad. They only have 3 wins on the season, but they're very frisky. They were in that game going up against Penn State, had a chance to win that game going up against Penn State. But I'm going to take Wisconsin here to keep the streak alive, make it 23 consecutive years in a row. I will take them on the money line as the final play of the day. Let's go look at all the plays. We're going to be taking Ole Miss minus 26.5, Iowa minus 3.5, Wisconsin on the money line, Shedeur Sanders over 334.5 passing, and then Caden Lee over 73.5 receiving going up against Mississippi State. Guys, going to do it for the NCAA football plays and props for Friday, November 29th slate games. If you guys enjoyed the content, please be sure to drop a like this video and subscribe to the channel below. See you guys next video, and thanks for watching.